without further ado, we have Marcia that's going to give the presentation. I will give the expert demo, and then Dixie will come back and join us for the Q&A and any extra tidbits that we left out. So Marcia, I will let you take it away.
Hello, everyone. We are super excited today to talk to you about the new client experience that will be launching sometime next week. We have listened to all of you over the past year or two with regards to how your client is navigating the portal, and we are just super excited and thrilled to be able to give you guys a sneak peek of what that's going to look like. And we're pretty confident it's going to address those concerns and issues that your clients have been experiencing. So without further ado, let's jump in. So because today is a webinar style, we do ask that any questions that you have, you pop them into the Q&A box, not the chat. However, if you want to chat with each other, that's totally fine too. But any questions for our team, please put them in the Q&A box. We have Dixie in the background working on those, as well as Kim, and I believe another team member, Ankita, is there as well. And we always, of course, reserve some time at the end for some Q&A live as well. Okay. So what are we going to cover today? We are going to go over what the new client experience is going to look like. So we are going to be logged in as a client, and you are going to get to see firsthand what the portal will now look like once this release goes out next week on the navigation of the portal from a client perspective. And we want to put any anxiety that you may have about these changes at ease, because we have done a ton of testing with a ton of people from different backgrounds with regards to tech ability, demographics, and what have you. So we've got you. And we have had this tested by clients in their 20s right up to their 70s. And the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, and that it has made things a lot easier. Okay, let's get going. So we are going to approach this from three different chunks. We're going to talk about the client homepage. So what your client will see as soon as they log in. We're going to talk about how they navigate a project. And then we're going to talk about communication. So how they set up their settings, how you can communicate with them in the studio, and how they can give you feedback and what have you. And we didn't want to fill up too much time with me talking, so Paxton's going to take over, and she's going to do the demo for you. And again, any questions, please pop them into the Q&A.
Okay, thank you, Marcia. Let me, go back. There we go. So let me get started. This is going to be strictly from the client's perspective. Again, this has not released yet. So this is something that is coming, not yet. And we're just going to go through how the clients experience things now. So the login page is still going to be the same, however you've set that up. And once you select to log in, or select the studio button if you're already logged in, you will see it looks very different. So we have simplified this quite significantly in order to help clients be able to see what they are trying to get to. So they don't have to look around and search for things anymore. It is just there. Zoom just popped up into my middle of the screen, so let me move that over. So let's go over the new client dashboard, or what we're now calling the home page, just because home tends to be a more universal term across all different types of platforms, apps, and everything in general, that it's easier to understand for everybody. So on here, we have the welcome message and welcome video. So these are set up in your studio settings. You do not have to have this as a guide to the studio entirely. You could do this more so as maybe you want to just do a personalized message to say, hey, this is what our design firm's about. This is what you can expect, different things like that. You can set this up as a generalized thing for everybody that's your clients, or you can do that individually per client. And we will have a already done one for you that you can use if you would like. So let's go over the bottom navigation. So on here, I have the home page to where they can always select that to come right back here. They have their notifications where it will have this little dot handy. If they have anything not viewed, they can still click on these to go directly to where they need it or what they were trying to look at. And again, they can press home just to come right back. You have your messages still. So you can see that they have some quick filters here just to help organize their messages if they have a lot. You can see this arrow that's colored in to show that that is the new message. Once they click on it, it will remove the dot from down here and the arrow, but they can always mark it as unread if they weren't quite ready to review that. And replying to you or your team is going to be the same as it has been. They'll just click in here, start to type, and send that message. Continuing on the navigation, we have these settings. So this is where they can update their information. So maybe their name change, their email, etc. They can still add their own address if you didn't already do that. On the right-hand side, they can switch between light and dark mode. Again, that's just for them. And then they can also control which notifications they get for emails or push notifications. They can toggle it off if they don't want to receive any, or they can simply uncheck one or the other, which that is the same for how y'all see it now too, as the designer. Scrolling down, they also can update their password and log out here in the settings. The last option is the question mark for help. This is going to be those FAQs that you can set up in your studio settings. So we have the default ones, and then we also have the ones that you can customize and create yourself. So for example, what are your business hours? They can click on this to expand it, look at that, and see extra information. And they can close it out if they no longer need it. And keep in mind, if you don't have anything set up, they won't have to worry about this section. So let's go back to the home page. And we're going to start to go through all of these tabs. So let's first go to projects, because this is going to be the one that's most similar to what you're used to. So if they go to projects, they can still select what project they want to go to. So for example, this client purchased a package, and then also they have their project overall. So if I come in here, this is the project overview. It gives the budget, any team members, information. If they need to see any more information, they can select show more, and it will expand that so they can read it and review it. They also have all of the tabs for this specific project in here as well. So keep in mind that if you have any tabs turned off, so for example, this designer call, it will hide those. There are some tabs that you are not able to hide, but if there is nothing actionable in there or approved or already paid, etc., it will be grayed out and they can't click on that. They'll only be able to click on what they need, for example. There is also an internal back button at the top left, but if they get lost, just tell them to select the home button, and that'll get them right back to seeing everything that they need, because they can get to all those different project tabs from here. So for example, they have their calendar at the top right, where they can see any tasks, events, I'm forgetting the other thing that's on there. Appointments, there we go. They can see based off of what is visible to them. They have the filters at the top, or they also have the further filters. You can also select a specific project if you only want to see tasks and things like that assigned to this specific project. So if you have multiple projects, it will default to all, and then you can filter down to just a specific project if you'd like. So let's go to contracts. you can see that it has a little dot at the top. This shows that there is something that they need to do in that field. So if I select contracts, you can see that I have 2 contracts that I need to sign as the client. So I can again click on this, review it. I can still export it and I can sign it here. So all I would have to do is type in my name as the client and then select sign. And so if there are other signatories on there, it will move it over to waiting on others. Let me just refresh that real quick. You can see that here. And if it was approved, obviously it would move that over to accepted contracts. Keep in mind, again, if they have multiple projects, it's going to show all of them, which is to help clients, if they do have multiple projects, not forget about other projects. So say that they go into one project, they sign the contract and they're like, okay, I'm all good, all done. But then you're like, well, what about this other project? You still need to sign that. So that's what this is here to help with. So they can still filter down to just specifically this project, or they can see all of it, but that way they can see everything that needs their attention. Let's go back to the home page. Let's go to proposals. So in here, it's going to be very similar to how they have ready for approval and approved. So if they select the proposal that they need, they can still review items. They can still comment back and forth with you, and they can approve it. And of course, if you had any attachments down at the bottom, they can open those as well. Keep in mind that they can also select any images to expand it if they are logged in, to take a better look at what details are being shared with them on the proposal. And if they wanted to, they can also select the 3 dots and download it for their own records. Once they have approved it, it will move over to approved, and any other proposals that they have will show up there. So let's go to invoices. So in the invoice tab, they can now see any unpaid invoices, any paid invoices, any package receipts, and their client credits all listed here. So anything that deals with their financials, it's all looped into one section for them. So that way they can see any and all unpaid invoices and go ahead and just pay all of those. So again, they'll scroll down through. They can see all of the information that you've left them on the invoice. They can select pay now. And if you have the option for credit card and bank transfer, they'll be able to select between those. I am not trying to give away my credit card number, so let's back out of that. So again, they have the client credits listed here. They can also collapse any of these fields if they don't need to look at it. And they can also search on the right-hand side. Let's go back to the home and go to products and services. So in the products and services, these are your views. So it makes it a lot simplified, and they can see bathroom. Okay, I can click on that, see the information. They can still like and dislike. The information that shows here is going to be based off of what you choose in the view settings. And they are still able to download this as a PDF or a CSV. But they can scroll through and again, like and dislike any items that they need. Of course, as you add more views, they'll see more listed here. They can also switch between a list or a grid if they have their preference. Appointments is going to work very similarly to how it does now. So any appointment links that you put in here, they will still click on this and it will open it up for them to book through something like Calendly, Acuity, Google Workspace, places like that, to where they can select a time and fill out their information. And once you as a designer mark that appointment as booked, it will move over to booked. Same thing for questionnaires. They can click on this to go ahead and fill out the questionnaire and type in any information to submit it. You can use things like Jot form, Type form, Google Forms, things like that. that you embed into your studio. And once you as the designer mark it as complete, it will move over to the completed section. For files and media, it will show all of the different files here. They can switch between the grid and the list view here if they would like. And if it has that it's requesting approval, they can click on this, review any items. So if they click on this, it'll open up into another section, and then they can select to approve and type in their name to approve it. Clients are not able to unapprove things. You as a designer can unapprove proposals and files and media. Just keep in mind if you need a record of that, or if you want to just create a new thing to get a new proposal or new approval, sorry. For the other option, if they are uploading images, they can still select to add files. They can drag and drop, pull from their browser, and select to upload. Or if there are already images in here, they can select the plus sign at the bottom right, and it'll do the same thing there. Okay, let's select the home button again, and let's go to design boards. So in the design boards, it'll still have the preview of your board and how you've set that up. And they can still click on this. They can still view the item list and any details. They can zoom in, they can zoom out, however they need. So select the hand icon to move around. Let's fit that. Select the hand icon to move around. There we go. Because otherwise they're going to be selecting things, and that'll highlight it in the item list on what it is. They can also switch between different boards at the top right. So this is going to be very similar to your presentation mode, but you can kind of see that there. Going into Task Manager, if they wanted to see all tasks entirely, including ones that may not have a start or end date, because the tasks have to have a start or end date in order to show on the calendar, they can go into the tasks and see this and review it. And depending on if they're an assignee or a watcher, they can do a few different things. So they can check things off if they're an assignee. If they're just a watcher, they won't be able to. As assignee, you can also change the status and also mark it complete. As an assignee or a watcher, you can add comments and also add files. So you can select add files. It works the exact same as uploading into the files and media section. And then adding comments, you can select to add comment. Just type out what they need. And then send that. And that will show up to you and your team and whoever is assigned to the task. Let's go back out and go to notes. We only have 2 more buttons. So notes, you have the view only ones that they will have access to. And then you also have ones that you can make editable by them. Keep in mind that both styles, so if you have a checklist that you want view only, you can have a checklist as view only, and a text where it's just a list of text, you can also have that editable. It just depends on the settings you set in your studio. But if they are able to edit it, they will be able to edit it the exact same way that you do. Otherwise, if it's view only, they will only be able to look at that. So for example, this I can reorganize as the client. I can check things off. I can add my own things because I am able to edit based off of what my designer gave me. Next, we have settings again. So this is just another place just to get there and log out or change their password, any extra information. And then last is the storefront. So keep in mind, if you do not have any packages, it will not show. And the storefront only shows if you have published and listed packages. If you have published unlisted packages, then it will not show, just because those are private packages that are not available to just anyone. So this will take them to the package page to where they can still view and add to cart and sign up for anything that they need. Okay. So just some things that are benefits is that it can be improved communications with your clients by knowing what the client sees. Designers can guide them more efficiently through the platform. It's an enhanced client experience. So anticipating the client needs and potential confusion points allows designers to address issues proactively. And because we made it so simple, again, if they're having trouble finding something, just tell them to select the home button and then they should see the tab there and they'll be able to access what they need. Again, keep in mind that if there is a section that is turned off for all projects that they are assigned to, it will not show there. And then also, if you have a project that has something that is turned on, but nothing is in there yet, similar to these, for example, notes, because that is a field that you can turn off, if there's nothing in there for them to see, they won't be able to click it. That's going to be how it works the same on their homepage. And there's just efficient project management. So streamlining how information is presented to clients can lead to smoother project workflows and quicker approvals. So by diving into the client view, designers can ensure they are fully aware of what their clients experience, leading to better service and more successful project outcomes. If you have any further questions about specific features or functionalities, definitely feel free to ask. So let's go back to the slides just to do a quick little review, and then we will have Dixie jump back in after that, and then we'll go over the Q&A.
So that was pretty great. Lots of I don't know, it's just going to be way easier now. I think when the clients log in, they can see everything right on their homepage. So if you have an invoice that they need to pay, they no longer need to navigate to the project. They can see it there because of those little dots on each gray button or square. They know what they need to do, what is an actionable item for them. And even if they go in and look at it, but they don't pay it, when they come back, they'll still see that they need to have their attention is going to go to that. So the client homepage, now you have your welcome video, and as Paxton said, that can be personalized. It doesn't have to be a studio wide video. It's a great way for you to have that personal touch, connection, build that rapport with the client right from the get-go when they log into the studio. Your welcome message, that again can be, welcome to the studio, and it can walk them through what they can expect, put them at ease, make them excited to work with you. So again, great. They are going to see it right there, front and center. Notifications, again, everything now, whether they're on the mobile app or if they're on their computer accessing the studio, their homepage is going to look the same. Messages, again, it's at the bottom now. And what I really like is if they get lost or they don't know where they have to go, they can just click that home button. Like, how easy is that? And then their settings. So of course they can go in there, they can update their password, for example, they can add their address, update their name, phone number, their contact information, and they can set their notifications as well. So we have push notifications now, of course, which refer to the app, as well as the email notifications. And then there's the resource center, or the help, as what we call it from the client standpoint. So you can turn on those default FAQs in your studio settings under client resources, but you can also add your own custom FAQs. And I love that feature because I used to share an FAQ and policy document with my clients, and now I can just add it into the resource center and it's there for the clients to see. So how easy is that? And then going over to how do they navigate a project, it's pretty similar to how they would navigate it now, but the buttons are bigger. It's a lot easier for them to see. And again, they can at a glance, because of the little orange brown dot, they can see what their attention needs to go to. For example, on this little screenshot that we're showing here, I can see that the client needs to go and complete the questionnaire. I can also see that something needs their attention in files and media. So maybe that they need to approve a document in there, for example, and there's an appointment in there that they need to schedule. And then the products and services and views. Views will look the same as they do now, but it's just a lot easier again for them to navigate to them. because they can navigate to them from their homepage, or they can do it from within the project. And driver. There you go. And step 3, the communication. So again, in the settings is where they can set up their studio notifications and their user settings. So it's all in the one place now. They can message with you at the bottom. And as Paxton demonstrated, they can mark things as unread. There are some filters there now for them as to make things a little easier. And then tasks. They can go into a task and they can do whatever is actionable for themselves, for you in there. They can leave comments, for example. They can check things off. They can update the status to complete. So again, just a lot easier now for you to engage that client inside the studio. So what's the next steps? Well, the next steps when it comes to, we are going to be releasing this next week, but something to consider if you haven't already using one of the client or the studio welcome videos, you can turn that on in your studio settings. But also it's a great opportunity with this new client navigational portal, maybe to record something new and something fresh to be sharing with your clients. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I want to make sure to go in and make sure that if you're not using the FAQs, again, that's under client resources in your studio settings, make sure to turn those on, but also make sure to add some new ones. Maybe you need, there's a question that you're getting asked all the time from clients. Add it in there because it's at the bottom and it says help, I think clients will notice it and be more inclined to use that feature in the studio, whereas in the past, maybe they weren't using it as much. Project navigation. So if the client doesn't know where to go, they can just click that home button now and it'll bring them back to their home page. And it doesn't matter what device they're using. So if they're using the mobile app or they're using their computer, navigation is the same. And so that makes it easier for them, but also makes it easier for you. So if your client is saying, hey, you told me there's a proposal ready for approval, but it's grayed out, that tells you didn't publish it, right? And then if they're not seeing a certain project feature, that means you didn't turn it on. So, and if they're not seeing a certain project, that tells you didn't publish it. So it's going to be a lot easier for you as a designer to also figure out what it is that you need to do if the client is saying that they can't see XYZ. Because now everything's on their homepage. So if it's grayed out or it's not visible, then something hasn't been published. And then communication. So the user settings, I love that now they can check, go in and they can turn on. And again, I love that we have push notifications now. So if they install the mobile app, they will get a notification on their device, phone, tablet, what have you. Okay, now I think it's time for questions. And I hope you guys have lots of questions because we're really, really excited about this. And we have the beautiful Dixie here today to help with questions. So this is a great opportunity to bug her. So there you go.
Definitely. So we've had some great ones in the Q&A section already. Some of them you have absolutely gone over already, but let me just pop up. Just as a reminder, one of them was, if I want to log in, as a client to see, to get to play with it, what do I do? Log in exactly the same way. Your clients will log in exactly the same way. Another question was, should I tell my clients that this is going to happen? Yeah, I would. I always like that. It's going to be an automatic thing that they're not going to have any sort of a migration or any kind of anything like that. It's just going to be when they update the app, it'll look like that to them moving forward. But now is the perfect opportunity, especially if you had any clients who had challenges navigating, to say, guess what? We have this great new way for you to log in, access everything. It'll make it much, much simpler. Let's see. Another one, when will this be live? And when will the welcome video be available? So that should be next week, and we will have a welcome video at the same time. So I do recommend, that's actually something we should mention again, is if you have selected default videos, welcome videos, or default FAQs for your clients for the studio, when this goes live, and we'll put a pop-up in your studio, just like we always do when it does, we recommend that you go in and just double check, because there aren't going to be as many of the default FAQs because we don't need them. There aren't going to be as many welcome videos walking the clients through because we don't need them. So just do a double check and take a look at that when that goes through. Let's see. Is there a video or steps to send to the client to get them signed up and logged in? It's really easy. You send them the invite, they click, there is a period of time that it has to be done, but they click on the accept invite, and all they have to do is put in their password and it'll automatically log them in. And then there shouldn't be anything else that they need to do after that. Like that's the most complicated part, is creating a password. Updates coming for designers. Yes, lots. Stay tuned for that though in a future webinar. So real quick, something that I saw in the Q&A, yeah. I forgot to show that the navigation for the mobile version, so obviously this is not mobile, but we're going to imagine that it is, through the mobile app or through the web, they just like wouldn't see this top part. But it's still going to be very much the same, to where they can scroll through and have the same navigation at the bottom, even if they're on maybe a tablet that's a little bit bigger. They can see that information, but it's going to be navigating the same across all devices for their clients. And that was really key for me, because I know, trying to explain to my clients the difference between how things looked on their mobile device versus their computer, for the old version, it was complicated and hard to explain sometimes. And this one, it's great because we worked with, as Marcia mentioned, people of all different sorts of technical abilities. And whether you said, okay, I want you to log in and find the invoice on your project, there were two different ways that people tended to do it. One, they would click on the project first, find their project, and then click to the invoice, or they would just go to the invoice. Either way, they're going to end up in the same place. They're going to have access to that invoice for that project. So we purposefully designed it so that it would work for several different ways of thinking and making it easier for them to get to things. Let's see. What page do the clients go to log in? This is a great question. And the answer is the same one you should be going to log in. So when you are in your studio, if you look up at the top, you can see here, in this case, it's got the URL. You go to your unique URL to log in. And it's going to always be your studio ID.mydomastudio.com. Bookmark it for yourself, bookmark it for your clients. That is the best place for everyone to log in. Please, I'm asking, please, 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 don't go to the Mydoma website to log in. You're just causing extra work for yourself. Go directly to your own login, type in your password. You can save it as long as you go to your studio ID.mydomastudio.com, bookmark that. And then every time you go there, it will automatically remember it. You can save, if you save the bookmark. That is the best, fastest, easiest way to log in. The other option, of course, is to have them download the mobile app. So your clients can download the mobile app just like you can. That is also a really super easy way to log in. You tap on the app and you have the login there. All right, how do we resend an invite or send a client their login info if they can't find it? There is, when you are if you go to that client profile, you're going to be able to click a button to resend the invite. And then if they've already created their password, so they're an active client, but they forgot what it was, have them do right there what Paxton said, click on the forgot password, and they can submit that way. So for us to log in and view as a client, do we have to use a different email to our signed up email? Yes.
I recommend creating one that is dedicated for you to go in and test things out and use things. It can be as simple as putting your name and then a plus sign, and then whatever your current email address is, just put a plus in between the first part and the at, just like this. Yep. And that gives you the ability to log in. You don't have to worry about it. It'll be easy to remember. And I can't tell you how many Dixie plus something else emails there are in Mydoma from all of my client and team member and my own testing all across the board. That's the easiest way to do it. And then the welcome video will, yes, the new welcome video, the default one, will walk your clients through how to use it. As I mentioned, though, the good news is they probably don't even need it. So if you would prefer to put your own welcome video in there, just saying, hey, you know what, thank you so much for choosing us to work with you. Here are some interesting things about how we work together, and here's what I'm looking forward to the most. You can do that too. And you can even do that individually. I don't know how many people know this, but if you go to the client's profile, you can set a specific welcome video for just that one client. So you can choose to do one for all of them, or if you like it to be even more personalized, or if you're like another designer I know who sends videos every week as an update, you can go to the client section, click on the client's name, and then there you can, yep, right there, perfect. Upload the custom welcome video, and you can also send them a custom message. So you've got on the client's homepage, you're going to have the video and then the message. You can update that message specifically to that one client. All right.
On that, I'm going to show how to assign the generalized studio setting one. So for that, you're going to go to your logo mark at the top left, or if you haven't uploaded a logo mark, go to the studio initial, go to studio settings. Then from here, you're going to scroll down at the bottom. It is client resources. And then right here is where you can add your own link or select a specific one. And then same thing, you'll scroll down, custom message, and you can customize that. This section in the studio settings would just auto, like blanket apply to all clients. If you wanted it there. The one that Dixie was talking about is if you wanted it for a specific person about a specific thing or message that you needed for just them.
Can you show them too up at the top? Is this same section is where you'll be able to choose from the default FAQs. So you get to select which ones of those you want. You can also add your own. So if you want to add your business hours or any information there about how you work together, you can do that too. I haven't tried it recently, so I'm going to default this next question to Paxton and Marcia. If you wanted to use a Loom video, that link, will it work instead of a YouTube link?
Yes.
I thought it would, but again, I haven't actually stuck it in there recently. So
yeah, so you just want to make sure that you select custom link source, and then you can paste that link here.
Mm-hmm.
And switch it back to a basic one though. And you can do YouTube videos, you can do Loom videos. I believe that you can do Vimeo, but I've never actually worked with Vimeo, so I don't know.
I think you can. We've done it before, but that one's been a really long time since I've tried.
Yeah, same. Okay, and then I'm just gonna real quick just click through these sections once more, just so you can kind of see it just a little slower, since I did go a little fast and we have some time. So apologies, I just get excited, and so then I just kind of go through it. So
I don't blame you. I'm excited too.
So we just have the projects here. If they only have one project, they're only going to see the one project. If you have archived a project and it's still active or published for the client, they'll still see those here. So if you have any packages and stuff like that, they can see that. They'll come in here, and this is the project overview. So if you have overview details that you want them to see and any tabs available. And again, if you have tabs turned off as a feature or just don't have things available and it is turned on, if it's turned off as a feature entirely, it will not show. If it is available but doesn't have anything in it, then it'll just be grayed out. So they won't select it and they won't go in and be like, what was the point of this? Like, I went in here and there's nothing here. What am I missing? They won't be able to click on it. So they won't have to question that. Let's go to the calendar. The calendar is still very much the same. They can still click on things to review information. And if they are an assignee, they can still edit the task and adjust different things here. If they're a watcher, they would be able to expand the task, but not be able to edit anything. For contracts, they can see ready for approval, waiting on others, and accepted. So they can see where the process is for everything. And these pages are going to look very similar if they chose to go to the project first and then contracts or whatnot. It's just the differences. So for example, you see this. If I go to the project itself and then select contracts, it's just for this project only. There's no additional possibility of filtering to a different project. Okay, and again, you can use that back button, but if you're trying to go back to the home page, you can select the home button. It's new, and so I'm like, yeah, just go back. And I was like, no, just make my life easier. Just select the home button. Proposals. And again, the proposals will be set up with this and any details that you have provided for them. And any attachments. Did it again. Invoices. You can see any details listed here. They can click on the unpaid invoices and scroll down. And again, if you have your Stripe set up, they can select pay now and select credit or bank transfer if they have those options, or new card, not just credit. And again, if there are any attachments there, they would see that. Products and services. So this would be the list of views that you have set up for them. And they can select the specific room, category, however you've set it up. And see the information. This looks very similar to what your presentation mode looks like. In fact, it actually basically is. But you can see the budget if you have the budget visible. Didn't mean to right click and scroll through. And again, if it's in a table view, they'll see it as a table view. This just depends on how you set that up. Let's go to
realized I'm typing really loudly and I forgot to mute myself.
I couldn't even hear you. It's not my keyboard.
This is true.
Appointments. So they won't be able to click on booked appointments just because it has all the information listed here. They'll only be able to click on unbooked. And again, it'll be whatever third party you've used to where they can click on it and review it, or not review it, but book it themselves. And again, you would need Calendly, Acuity, Google Workspace, something that has appointments like that you can share a link or a iframe embed code, I believe is, no, it's just a booking link. The embed code is for questionnaires. Sorry. So questionnaires, here we go. You can fill this out. And keep in mind that if you put the questionnaire in here, any responses will still go to the platform that you built the questionnaire in, just because that's how they all work currently. And then you could, if you wanted to, export those responses and add it to the files and media. So you have a record of it in a nice place where everybody can access it even easier without having to go between different apps. Okay, files and media, since we're talking about it. Again, they can see any information. If they are not able to upload, they won't see any options to add files at the bottom right. If they need to approve it, they will see the approve button. And of course, if you have any images, it'll show that. And these are any cover images that you have set. And if they're able to add files, they can see this here. Design boards, they'll see the preview of the published boards. And they can come in here and see the items. They can select items to see what it is on the item list on the right-hand side, or they can select the hand icon in order to move around the board, especially since you can zoom in. If I wanted to use the plus, or I can use the scroll on my mouse to click and move around. And they can also navigate between boards at the top right if they wanted to, instead of hitting the back. Task manager is just going to be here for any task that they are an assignee or a watcher. And these are going to look exactly the same as what you see it, minus they are not able to make certain adjustments and they are not able to track their time against a task. Because clients shouldn't be billing you their time. If they are, I have questions.
May I? Yeah, right.
Yes, go ahead.
I was just going to break in because I really like this question and I want to answer it. As far as the messages are concerned, so when there is a new message, the client will get an in-app notification, which is that little indicator down there, and on the corner of the message itself. They will get a push notification, assuming their push notifications are turned on, which they are automatically by default, and they will get an email. Now, the actual follow-on question to that is, does that email land in their primary or update or promotional inbox? Make sure that your clients have the app. I don't remember that exact email address that comes from.
My studio at mydomastudio.com.
Make sure that they have that added to their contacts so that it'll go ahead and go through there and not end up in spam.
And under settings, it's under message notifications here. And all notifications are turned on automatically, like Dixie said.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can continue.
Really, the only other thing was notes. Unless you really wanted to see a package page, but that hasn't changed. But again, they can see any notes that you have made visible or editable by them. They can review it. And if you made it editable, they can edit it. And again, keep in mind that you can make either of these editable or viewable. It doesn't have to be a checklist only editable and a text only viewable. You can do it either way.
All right. Melissa said, I don't have the calendar function in my studio. Am I missing something, or is that part of the update? I would say go ahead and refresh your studio right now. If you don't see the calendar function in your studio, send a message in the Mydoma chat bubble, because that is an update that went out recently. And then, oh gosh, lots of them. In the contract section, is there a way to upload an image of a signed paper contract? And the answer, I know for a fact, it's been a minute, so I don't remember for sure if you can upload an image, but I know you can upload a PDF of it.
You can upload a PDF into the, I just go here. I forgot that I got this open.
File contract. Instead of the text contract, you choose the other option and it'll let you upload it.
Yeah, so file contract. Yep. These are the options, not an image, but a PDF for sure. If you wanted to do an image, technically you could add that to the files and media, but I would recommend putting it in the contract section just for better organization for people trying to find things.
And there are a lot of apps and even native apps like automatically on your phone that you can take a picture of it and turn it into a PDF really easily, even if you don't have Adobe PDF. And yes, that would be for a signed contract for reference only is how you would add that. I've done that absolutely before. My clients like to, a couple of them would like to prefer to print it out and physically sign it and then send it back to me. And so I would do exactly that. Take a picture of it, make sure it was a PDF, add it up into the, I just scan it into my printer and add it as a file contract so that it was there for reference.
Yeah, real quick, just because I'm seeing a couple people. If you do not see the calendar in your studio logged in as a designer, select the question mark at the top right. If you press and hold, it'll open up the chat, or if you select the question mark and then connect with support, does the same thing. Message us there. That way we can better track that, especially since some of these questions are coming in anonymous. So we aren't able to see who you are. We just want to make sure that we get you taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Another question is, are the boards where 3D renders would show? Yes and no. Yes, you can add your 3D renders to the design boards, but you can also pull them into a folder in the files and media section. So you have two different options there.
Yeah. So to do this, you would either go to the files and media. You can go into a folder. We'll just go into inspiration, and you can import renders at the top. And it'll ask you what project. You can select that and choose the renders that you have made. Or alternatively, in the design boards, that is clearly a design board in progress, but let's just do this. Again, you can select add at the top and then visualizer. And it will ask you the same thing. So you'll select the specific project that you want, and then you can select any renders that you want to pull in.
Will you message us when this update goes out? The answer is yes. I will send you a message just like I do every time that we have an update. I'll make it a big pop-up. So as long as you're logging into your studio every day, you'll know that it's there. And that'll make it really, really easy for you to see. And it'll say, hey, it's here.
I think I might have a previous pop-up maybe.
Probably if you scroll back just a little bit.
So it should pop up like this
like
without
that.
having to go through the chat. I'm just trying to pull it back up.
Yep. It should look just like that. So if you miss it, I screwed something up. Let's see. And again, if you don't see the calendar you would see the agenda on your dashboard and the calendar in your menu. If you don't see it, if it doesn't look like this, go ahead and pop a message into that studio chat bubble. All right. I think that's just about it as far as the client experience goes. There are a couple of other questions that have come in about different things that aren't quite related to this. So feel free to go ahead and pop those questions into your chat bubble as well, because our support team is the best and they know all of the answers to everything, or they will figure something out. They will find out for you.
We'll find a way. We have resources.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and we look forward to talking to y'all again soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.